the clock. And here comes our pickup and departure. Here we go. Cape traffic 32450, departing eastbound to the port of 500 feet, Cape. Here we are off the ground. Slight tilt forward and we're on our way. So we have Exploration Tower there on your left-hand side, that building in white that looks like a claw. That one is closed to the public, unfortunately. They've been seeking new ownership to open it back up. The building was actually sinking back in 2023, and they got it fixed, but now they need a new owner to open the building to the public again. On your left, these buildings out here in the distance out in front of you are Cape Canaveral Space Force Station. That's all military airspace out there. And then those towers you see out there in the distance, those are launch pads. That's where they launch a series of rockets from. So if you look at your 11 o'clock, the two towers with the white tips that are flashing, that's launch pad 36, the primary launch pad for Blue Origin, where they had their Glen rocket situated over the last few days, and that should be launching here in the near future. And directly below on your left, that body of water right there is the Trident Turning Basin. It's a Navy submarine base. There are no subs to port today, but they do come and go throughout the year. So we have the American Pioneer mini cruise line here, as well as the Victory Casino boat just off the nose of the aircraft. The casino boat's coming back in for their morning excursion, and they'll head back out on an evening tour around 7:30. Then we have Jetty Park on our right, through private campground and beach access, and Jetty Beach here just below us. We're going to turn to the right, and we'll head down the shoreline of Jetty Beach. I'm going to count down the turn for you. Here we go, right-hand turn here in 3, 2, 1, turn to the right. Okay, traffic helicopter 32450, transitioning south down the shoreline. We're at the jetty at 500 feet, Kate. Alright, so we'll head down the shoreline of Jetty Beach and we'll pick up Cocoa Beach. You can see the Cocoa Beach pier just off the nose of the aircraft. That's a tiki bar restaurant there located at the end of the pier. Great spot to grab a bite of food or a drink on the water. We'll come back down to about 400 feet. We'll cruise at about 85 knots, which translates about 95 miles an hour as we head southbound down the shoreline. Pretty good visibility today in terms of the flying weather. Also some decent visibility in the water. Lots of moss down there, sea moss that is. Not so much marine life. I haven't seen many dolphins today, at least on the Atlantic Ocean, but you may see some along the river when we go back towards the Banana River. Approaching the Cocoa Beach Pier. This is where Kelly Slater, the famous surfer, made his name to fame right here on these shorelines. This is Cocoa Beach. So we're going to pass by Ron John Surf Shop. Just coming up on your right hand side is the big blue, yellow, and white building. That's what made Cocoa Beach popular in the first place. And then you can see the longer road. That's the Cocoa Beach Causeway, also known as the 520. It connects Cocoa Beach here to Merritt Island over there. And the white building on the causeway is the First Health Hospital, which is only going to be there for a few more months. That building is actually being currently relocated back to Merritt Island on the mainland. So this is the Banana River here on our right. It goes north to south, and the set of mangroves out here is what we call the Thousand Islands. It's a really good spot for seeing dolphins and manatees on the water. It's very shallow there. It's only about 2 to 3 feet deep. It's brackish water, so it's a combination of salt and fresh water. And we're a multi-faceted business, so we do the helicopter tour, but we also do a dolphin tour boat business that takes you up and down the river and through those islands. They operate how we do, 7 days a week, 4 times a day for a 2-hour tour duration. Okay, so we'll turn around to the left. This is Lori Wilson Park on our right. The clearing out in front of us is Patrick Space Force Base. And this is the brand new Westin Resort they're building here on your right-hand side. So we'll turn to the left in 3, 2, 1. Left-hand turn this time. Hey, traffic, helicopter 32450, left 180 at Lloyd Wilson, north along the shoreline at 500 feet, Cape. Alright, so we'll just reverse course and head back up the shoreline just the way we came from. As we get closer to the port, we'll go all the way westbound towards the Banana River, and that's where we may see some more marine life. And in the distance out in front of you, at about your 11 o'clock, the big white tower out there with the American flag on it is NASA. That's the vehicle assembly building there, where they used to deal with the shuttle technology. They now currently are working on a rocket technology, which they should be getting up here sometime next year. In the building just next to it in white and black, next to the tower that is, that's SpaceX. That's Elon Musk's facility where they prepare the Falcon 9 rockets. The next building over is going to be Kennedy Space Center in orange and white. That is the kind of the visitor center where you can do a guided tour and see all the old school rockets as well as the shuttle Atlantis. And then the blue and white building just out in front of it is Blue Origin, Jeff Bezos' facility where they prepare the Glenn rocket. And rest assured, we'll get a better view of those buildings once we go back through the port heading westbound. So as we approach the port, we'll go back up to our cruise altitude 500 feet. So we'll just change altitude here. Hey, traffic, helicopter 32450, about a mile south of the jetty, going to be transitioning east to west through the port at 500 feet, Cape. Okay, there we are back at our cruise altitude, so we'll maintain this. Okay, so as we approach the port, we'll make a left-hand turn. We'll go all the way through the port westbound towards the Banana River, and then we'll head on back towards our helipad. Alright, here we go. One more left turn in 3, 2, 1. Left-hand turn. Boat. They'll make a U-turn here. They'll come back to their dock there with the blue ramp just behind the American Pioneer vessel. That's the first comm station for one of the subs that deployed out of the Trident turning basin there. They've recently painted it that black. Used to be the nice Seawolf gray there, but that's the sub base. And then as we make our way through the port, you're going to see the two landing barges, both for the respective launch facilities. So SpaceX's landing barge is right here. They call it a shortfall of gravitas. That's what the rocket lands on autonomously 500 miles out in the Atlantic Ocean before it's tugged back into the port. So just there on our right. And then even further on the right, coming up in a few moments here, the blue, white, and black barge, that's the Jacqueline landing barge, and that's for Blue Origin and their Glenn rocket, and they complete a very similar mission. Alright, So now if you look out in the distance to your right, it's kind of hard to see the buildings because of the shadow of the clouds, but at your 3 o'clock, the blue and white building, that's Blue Origin. Then just behind it is Kennedy Space Center, that orange and white tower. The next building over is SpaceX, the white and black rectangular building, and then NASA, the VAB, the big tower there on your right-hand side. There's some of the cruise terminals, Disney Cruise Line and whatnot. We are the third busiest port in the nation. We hold up to 6 cruise ships at a time here, and we do get the biggest cruise ship in the world and the newest, and the Royal Caribbean Star of the Seas. So here's some of those dolphins. They just popped up on your right. Let's see if they pop up again here. They just kind of went under, but that's pretty common here on the Banana River. It's only about 5 to 7 feet deep. You may see some on the left by the sailboats as well. We'll turn around. We'll see if we can pop up get the other two to pop up again. But here we go. We're going to turn around to the left, and 3, 2, 1. Left-hand turn. Okay, traffic, helicopter 8299 kilo, excuse me, 32450, left 180 at the lock, eastbound to the port, 500 below, okay. Okay, so we'll go back to the port, eastbound towards our helipad. The dolphins were over out here on the left, more or less by the terminal, the parking garage at the terminal there. See if I can spot any on the right for you as we make our approach back to the helipad. Doesn't look to be any activity here on the right. So they were over here on the left. The water rippling, you can see it rippling now. Let's see if he comes back up. I'll try to pump the brakes here, trying to make us come back real slow. But they were just kind of out there on your left-hand side. There's one that just popped up from below us, another one that were below us on the right. And we'll come on in for our landing approach here. We'll be on the ground within a minute's time. We're just going to have a nice gradual descent down towards our landing pad. Slight right-hand turn in front of the Blue Points Marina. Alright, and now we're on our final approach back towards our landing pad. We'll be on the ground here momentarily. I hope you all enjoyed the flight. It was a pleasure flying you all today. Thank you for coming out, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Here comes our landing. And there we are back on the ground. So we'll start our shutdown process. It's very similar to our startup. It takes about 45 seconds to a minute to get a shutdown. You all can feel free to detach your seat belts. Headsets are going to go on those hooks behind your head when you're ready, no rush. And then once we get the rotor stop turning, I'll show you the video inside and we'll get it sent to you.